talking about something else.
There you go. I love the energy, man. We are live right now, man. Let's get it.
I saw that. Now I'm nervous. All of a sudden, I'm terrified.
All of a sudden. Let's share the link, man.
I don't know where the fucking link is to share. I've never done this live shit before.
It's actually on my Twitter right now. Right now as we speak.
Well, I'll go over there. Let's go.
It's just posted. I love StreamYard, man. It gives you the opportunity to go live everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you're the first time I did StreamYard was with you.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, oh shit, wait. That's the link. Okay.
Yep.
Let me go ahead.
It's like funny because people are like watching us right now, like trying to figure out like how to
Who's fucking watching us right now? Hey people.
Let's go. We got 7 people in here, man. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, man.
Damn, LQ. We're like 30 seconds in. People love you, dude.
Hey, cheers. Good morning.
Oh fuck, am I supposed to be drinking? Give me a second. Can I have a second?
Yeah, go get your beer, man.
Fucking beer.
I'll keep the people entertained. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, people. We are here for a very special episode. This is playoff preparation, people, and it's Thanksgiving, so a lot of people don't have fantasy football on their mind, but if you're here to bring home the gold, people, if you're here about your money, there is no breaks when it comes to fantasy football, people. You need to get here, get ready, drink your beer, and get ready for the playoffs, people. Money is on my mind. Money should be on your mind as well because playoffs are coming, people, and you want to win. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, some people want to win. Some people at this point just want to fuck over other people in their league because they're already out of it, which is, by the way, probably more important and definitely more fun. If you're out of your playoffs, fucking somebody else over in your league that might be in the playoffs is the most fun thing that there is to do in fantasy football. Don't give up, baby. There's important shit to be done.
It's okay to be toxic. I love toxic behavior in all leagues. Like, it's very fun to deal with because it's like you see the guy who has no playoff hopes, who's in last place right now, who has to deal with the punishment. Why not fuck everybody else over?
Fuck everybody over. Now, let me be clear about this, though. You don't fuck everybody over by colluding and making bullshit trades or dropping players so they can be picked. You don't do that shit.
You don't sit here and drop your number one, pick or anything stupid like that.
Don't fuck with that. Hey, I got my text stream for my home league blew up this morning because of these we play on Yahoo, so we had these stat corrections this morning. You see any of this? A bunch of like 5-6 players, Lamar Jackson, a bunch of guys lost. CeeDee Lamb lost a 2-point conversion in the stat corrections on Yahoo this morning, and it like 3 of the fucking matchups in my home league switched because of it. Like it's been crazy morning. Fucking crazy.
That is insane. I had a stat correction about 2 weeks ago. I don't know who was involved, but I had 2 league mates that were literally 0.8, difference in the win. And then all of a sudden, a week goes by, they didn't even notice. Like, oh shit, I actually won that game because of stat correction. I think stat correction should be done within that night. It shouldn't be next morning because you think you got the dub, you think you had the win, you're in the group chat talking shit, and then boom, you take that loss. Now you look like an idiot.
It's hilarious to watch people look like an idiot, though. My least favorite stat correction of all time. This was probably 3 or 4 years ago. It was when that whole little jet sweep shovel pass thing was first happening. Ben Roethlisberger was not credited for a touchdown on one of those, and I won, which put me in the playoffs. For like a record, I broke the record for most consecutive years in the playoffs that week. And then several days later, they switched it to a touchdown pass. My opponent had Ben Roethlisberger. I was knocked out. I lost the record that I thought was mine. That pissed me off. I'll never forget that stat correction. I don't remember what year it was, but.
Man, stat corrections need to be done right then and there. I know they have a lot of people on the app, and it's like to run an app, to run a company, or to be like, one of the best apps out there, man, you have to have stat correction like ASAP, man. Because get it done, man. So we're here for playoff preparation. We're here for your sleepers, your fades, everything you need to do to gear up to get to the playoffs. So a big thing that I like to preach, I want to get your opinion on it as well. We need to get bench players, like bench warmers, out of the way. We need to pick up guys who are cooking up right now. Like I would say Rashad Perriman last year was like a waiver wire hero. He cooked up in the playoffs when Mike Evans went down. These are the guys we need to go grab and hold on to that can actually, help us come playoffs. Because I believe Rashad Perriman, when Mike Evans went down, I think it was like week 12, right before playoffs, which we're in right now. He actually cooked up and helped us get to that playoff run, or actually helped us in the playoffs to get those dubs. So now we got bench warmers like Marquise Brown. Can we start there with him? Can we get rid of him? Can we just say, you know what? Let's accept that he's Tavon Austin and not Tyreek Hill of the wide receivers, of the speedsters? Come on, man. Let me get your opinion.
I dropped Marquise Brown last week, in fact, and there was a mad scramble. I mean, talk about Fab trying to pick him up, and I'm just laughing. Yeah. I feel like, you may disagree, but I feel like Darius Slayton is the same fucking deal. Both of those guys been on my team all year. I dropped them both. Mm-hmm. I know the matchups are beautiful for Darius Slayton, but in my position, so like this is always position dependent, right? Like I am a bubble team right now. It could go either way for me. Right now I'm in the playoff position, but one loss over the next 2 weeks and I'm out of it. So I don't have time for boom bust players right now. I have to play at least I feel like I have to play safer plays. I'm in matchups that I should win. So I have to play safer plays. I can't play a guy like Darius Slayton who could get one catch for 16 yards in a week and totally fuck me over. I'd rather have, running backs in my flex spots. We've got 2 flex spots. So I'd rather do something like that. So I'm dropping guys like that left and right. But I think what you're saying is like, if you've been holding on to handcuffs all year, it's time to get rid of these guys, right? If you've been 100%. Holding on to low volume wide receivers, it's time to get rid of those guys. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. It's time to gear up for the playoffs. You got to act like you want to dress the part for the job you want. You want to win the championship belt. You want the trophy. You got to start, putting your big boy pants on and making those cuts like Slayton and Marquise Brown, because it's like, yeah, the draft investment, you know what I mean? You took them in such and such round. You took them kind of high. You were a big believer, a lot of truthers, but we're about 12 weeks into it now. It's kind of like, you just got to cut ties and cut the umbilical cord. You know what I mean? Because I even feel weird dropping, Darius Slayton, because you look at the matchups, you look at what could have been, you look at what can happen, but it's like, I don't need to hold on to a guy that's going to give me, X amount of points where I can have that on my bench. You know what I mean? Yeah. It doesn't make sense. So let me bring in a guy that can ball out. Let me bring in a guy that can help.
Yes. Who's your favorite? Like, is there a guy right now that stands out as, I know you talked about last year Perriman, but who's maybe coming on late, somebody who's, over this last quarter that you think could have, wait, let's hold off on that because we're doing that in a minute, right?
Yeah.
All right. We'll hold off. I got excited. I wanted you to give me some advice.
Jump in the gun.
So I want you to give me some advice to win my league. But I don't know that if I'm asking somebody for advice, I don't know if it's you. Can I tell the people why I think that?
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, this is nothing against you. I think you're a wonderful, wonderful human. Okay. Yeah. Fantastic at everything you do, except there's one thing that you're fucking terrible at. I play a game on my podcast, Your Football Fantasy, by the way. Go check it out.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
We got 3-4 guys get shit-faced 90 minutes every week, but we play a game there. We invented a game. It's called 3 in the Pink, 2 in the Stink. That's the kind of guys we are. Because if you can put anything anywhere, you might as well put all 5 of them somewhere, right? But we've got 36 people playing in that league. You're one of them. You joined up for the first time this year. Basically, it's a version of a best ball league. You've been in last place since day one. I mean, your score right now is like negative 400 fucking points. You've not even for half of a week have you been out of last place. You're fucking terrible at it.
I suck at fantasy football.
I mean, but like you pick you got to pick 2 fades, right? You pick Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones early season. I don't know why'd you hate on those guys so early? And do you feel bad about that now?
I feel bad about Aaron Jones 100%. I was talking my shit. Man. I
wasn't too far behind you on the Aaron Jones hate, but he's proved us wrong. He's doing it.
He proved us wrong. You know what? He's legit. I was wrong. I take back everything I said. I take back AJ Dillon hype. Because goddamn,
AJ Dillon has one of your go-off guys in this thing too, which is another reason.
Like, it's not too late for Dillon. Outplay Jamal Williams. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's not too late for AJ Dillon. Like this season, it is, but it's not too late for AJ Dillon. This is what I tell people whenever they say talk some shit because as fantasy football experts, you and I both know that people just talk shit. Like you're not going to get every call wrong. And what I tell them is predicting the future is next to impossible. Nostradamus gets it right 1 out of 100 times, and he's the greatest prognosticator of all time. So if we get it wrong on occasion, like fucking deal with it. Okay.
Yeah.
Fucking deal with it. Right.
You just got to eat the shit sandwich sometime. Like AJ Dillon let me down. I mean, I said he's losing weight. He's about the weight range of Saquon Barkley. Look at his quads. The dude is built to be Saquon Barkley. But it just didn't happen. So
shit, explosive. She's got the intangibles. I think it's not too late for him. I think AJ Dillon's a nice grab for next year. If you're like a deep keeper or something like a 10-rounder later keeper or something, I think that's a nice play.
They're going to pay Aaron Jones. That's the problem. That's the legit problem here. They're going to pay Aaron Jones. A.J. Dillon development and time for him to break out is going to be very pending on injury. Knock on wood. I hope Aaron Jones doesn't get hurt. But his breakout is going to depend on, injury, basically, because Jamal Williams is still annoying. I don't know why the coaching staff love him. Like,
always have. It's not the first coaching staff that loved him. The previous coaching staff loved him, too.
What does he do? Is he like charming? Is he like bringing them coffee in the morning, Dunkin' Donuts?
Maybe he sucks that dick, bro. I don't know.
Maybe.
Somebody has to. One more thing about throwing the pink tuna stink before we move on that is really bothering me. You haven't fucking paid yet.
Bullshit.
You have not fucking paid me yet.
Screenshot.
But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. Unless you've done it in the past day, but it's fine. Let's move off of that. I want to talk about Thanksgiving for a second, and I apologize if people are here for fantasy football, but it's fucking Thanksgiving, and I want to know, LQ, are there like traditions in your house? What kind of food do you eat? What's your family's Thanksgiving like?
Our family's Thanksgiving is pretty traditional. I mean, eat at the table, of course, TV on, occasionally with football, etc. Turkey, ham, mac and cheese, the general foods, you know what I mean? It's like a big day where everybody comes and brings a plate. You just eat good, you drink good vibes, and you got a little bit of Christmas music in the background once everybody's drunk. Once everybody's like a little bit there, they have a little bit of Christmas music just to get ready for the next holiday. You
do the cooking?
Some, but the wife does most of the cooking.
I do all the fucking cooking in my house because I'm a man.
Chef? Okay, Chef Boy AD.
I only cook Thanksgiving. I cook one day a year, and I cook Thanksgiving dinner. And half the time it's because my wife's family's over, and I don't want to. I'd rather be in the kitchen. Okay,
I'd rather be on the grill. I'm cooking top sirloin steak today. Yeah, I'm a little bit of flex, but I'm cooking that. Change it up a little bit. Throw that out there. Like, look, we also have steak. You know what I mean? Instead of like the traditional turkey and ham, etc.
I have one other Thanksgiving tradition that I'm going to share with you and the people watching. I see our boy Gabe from Fantasy in Session here. Bullfrog off of my podcast. He's here. What's up, guys? One other tradition I'm going to share with you people that I think y'all should take up. I think Los is there too. Hey, Los. It's hard not to say hello to all the people who are fucking commenting.
I know, right? They're starting to swarm in, man. I like it. Good morning to you guys. Cheers.
Live shows.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I think everybody should jump on and do. If you don't know this, you should know this. In the animal kingdom, wild turkeys are the freakiest fucking animals there are. I mean, when they get after it, when they get to fucking, they get weird. I mean, it's like stomp on a bitch's head, choke her out, hold her neck and twist while they're shoving their whatever on their whatever. When my wife and I saw that on National Geographic or whatever it was 10 years ago, we decided that it was important to pay homage to the bird that we were going to be eating later. So we start every Thanksgiving morning with a just absolute domination fuck, where I can do anything I want for her. It's expected that she walks away with bruises. Okay, so that's how we start every Thanksgiving. It's a fucking great way to do it. I think everybody should jump on board. If you're like a progressive couple, maybe let her dominate you. I don't know. Get your nuts stomped on.
There you go. Get them twist a little bit. Slap the rubber band.
Today's a weird Thanksgiving, so I decided to try something a little bit different. First, we did our normal abuse fuck. Okay, like I did try to shove it into her ear a lot, hard. May have concussed her with my dick. I don't know. But afterward, I went to take a shower and I decided to beat myself up. So I got after it in the shower, just myself. And, I shoved some shit in my ass, probably more than I've ever shoved up there before. It wasn't great. I smacked myself around. I thought I'd do something different to commemorate COVID-19. Right? I think everybody should jump on board. Get a weird fuck in. Bullfrog, you're watching. I know you're watching. Bullfrog. Bullfrog likes to get real weird with his wife.
Oh, 10 a.m. beers for sure, bro.
Yeah.
I
wasn't gonna drink, but LQ won't let me on his show unless I do.
Yes, exactly. It's required, or you're fired.
We'll take a shot later.
Oh, I gotta hit the liquor store later. I have no liquor, man.
What is wrong with you, dude?
Dude, COVID.
Yeah.
COVID.
That just means you need more booze in your house all the goddamn time.
Exactly. So any scapegoat I've been doing for the last 2 months, any excuse, I just say COVID. COVID.
Why not?
It worked.
Let's get back into fantasy football. That's what we don't want people leaving. Yeah. You got the weird fuck advice. Turkey fucking. Absolutely turkey fucking. It's not raw though. You got to baste it every now and then. Bring in the baster into the bedroom in the morning. That's a nice way to get it rolling.
For real. But anyway, let's get back to fantasy football. So we already talked a little bit about preparation and getting the bench warmers out.
Hey, that's my boy Imp. What up, Imp? Sorry.
So we need to get into who are some of your guys that you think can pop off, who could possibly help you, bring home the gold, actually get you some playoff wins, or actually, like for now, with the last 2 weeks, can help you get to the playoffs. Let's start with your first sleeper.
So these are the guys we were mentioning earlier, right? Like if you're going to drop guys like Marquise Brown off of your roster, who are you picking up that could go off, right? Lots of things to look at, trends on teams, matchups, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start with the guy that I've owned all year. And it's been real frustrating to own this guy, and it's been really tempting to drop him right alongside a guy like Hollywood Brown, but I haven't, and I think it's going to really pay dividends in the playoffs. Should I make the playoffs? But it's Melvin Gordon. I know it sounds like a gross fucking name, but I think Melvin Gordon absolutely is a playoff sleeper. Now I know he's owned, like if you look at Yahoo, he's owned in like 90% of leagues, so it's not like you can go pick him up. He's only 50% started, though. So this message is for the Melvin Gordon owners out there who haven't felt comfortable playing him, right?
100%.
You're not going to feel comfortable playing him this week against New Orleans. You're not going to feel comfortable playing him next week. But come the matchups, I think it's absolutely time to roll him out, and he's going to win you some fantasy matchups in the playoffs, I think. So let's look at the backfield for a second to prove this. I got to prove this to people because it's hard to swallow. First of all, Melvin Gordon absolutely has the backfield. It's his backfield. There's been a lot of storylines about Phillip Lindsay coming back from injury. Phillip Lindsay's going to take it back. Phillip Lindsay's blah, blah, blah. It's Melvin Gordon's backfield. He's got double-digit touches in every game on the season except game 1, okay, week 1 when they did try to run Lindsay out there. They learned pretty quickly that Gordon was the guy. He's out-touched Phillip Lindsay in every week except this past week. He out-carried Phillip Lindsay all but 2 times on the year. In fact, he's got 56% of the rushing attempts out of that backfield next to Lindsay's 33. That only includes the games where Lindsay was not injured, by the way. 29-8 in targets coming out of the backfield over Lindsay. We know that Phillip Lindsay doesn't catch passes. That's a Melvin Gordon strength. He's out-snapped Lindsay in every single game, had at least 55% of those snaps in every game except this past week. And he's 18-5 over Phillip Lindsay in red zone touches, which is a really big thing. We know if you've been a Melvin Gordon owner ever in his career outside of his first season, you know that what he does is catch passes and score touchdowns. Those are the only 2 things he does. He's not a very efficient back with the ball. He doesn't have a huge yards per carry. Bullfrog is the first guy to tell you he's been sub 4 yards per carry in most years in his career, but he scores touchdowns and he catches passes, and those things are really valuable in fantasy football.
100% in fantasy.
And he's still doing that this year. If we look at the playoff matchups, here's why I'm so bullish on Melvin Gordon for the playoffs. In round 1, he gets Carolina. The Carolina Panthers are 6th worst in the league in yards per carry given up to backs, 4.6. I know they're getting better, but they're still not very good. 6th worst in rushing touchdowns. They've given up 14 rushing touchdowns on the season. 6th worst in receiving yards to given up to backs. So again, if Melvin Gordon catches passes and scores touchdowns, Carolina is a great matchup for Melvin Gordon. It gets better. In the semifinal week, he's going to face Buffalo, who you think to yourself, Buffalo's a really tough defense. but a running back has scored a touchdown in every single week against Buffalo, except for week 4 versus Las Vegas for whatever reason. Fluky. Fourth worst in the league as far as running back yards per carry, 4.8 yards per carry. Nice opportunity to score touchdowns. And even though Melvin Gordon's not an efficient back, this team gives it up in the running game. And in the championship game, the Los Angeles Chargers come to town. 6th worst, also 4.6 yards per carry. Similar issue as Carolina. Rushing touchdown in every game since their bye week in week 6, and a running back touchdown in every game but 2 in week 1 and week 5. Interestingly enough, Kansas City and New Orleans couldn't score on the ground against them. Every other team has. 15 rushing touchdowns on the season's 3rd worst. Most receiving touchdowns to running backs on the year. Look, those are, again, the things that Melvin Gordon does well. Very good matchups for Melvin Gordon's specific skill set in the playoffs. And it may feel weird in that first round putting him in. He's going to have 2 bad weeks over the next 2. I mean, this week he's playing New Orleans, which is insane. But you put him in there, you're going to win some games, I think.
I think with Melvin Gordon owners, me being one of them, the most uncomfortable thing was putting him in as your like RB2. You drafted him probably in like the 3rd, 4th round. It's the investment that we got off of Gordon, and it's not really getting your bang for buck. So like what I felt like doing basically with Melvin Gordon, like you said, you almost wanted to drop him as well. I've been trying to ship him off. I've been trying to trade him before the deadline. Nobody's biting because of that false narrative that Lindsey's coming back. Lindsey's going to be, the pest and all this other stuff, which I didn't really 100% believe because I knew Gordon can be, the lead back. He'll be the 1A, if anything. So I always looked at for PPR value, Gordon's going to catch the passes. I'm going to get 1 point here, 1 point there, 1 point there, because he's going to be the pure PPR guy that's going to give me the passes, the catches out of the backfield. Now, Lindsey looks like the pure runner. He looks very efficient with the, he's getting less carries, but he's getting up more yards, which is cool at the end of the day in standard leagues. But I'm in PPR leagues where I own Gordon. So I'll take those 6 to 7 targets out of the backfield and catches about 4 or 5 of them all the time. So we know Gordon's going to be the guy that's going to catch the passes, catch the touchdowns, run the touchdowns. I definitely feel like the playoffs, I could feel a tad bit more comfortable being a Gordon, owner with my other running backs, just to give a little preview of my team, Joe Mixon, David Johnson, those guys are on IR right now. So I'm hurting right now at running back. So I have no choice but to play a Kalen Ballage or a Melvin Gordon. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at right now. So again, it's a tough spot. A lot of people are in a tough spot with Gordon because of where they took him. You know what I mean? They missed out on a lot of other guys in those 3rd and 4th rounds. They were feeling and believing that, Drew Lock was going to lock it up. He was going to be great. Noah Fant, Cortland Sutton going down. Nobody can predict that as well. That offense had the pieces and had the formula to be, not a high power offense, but a mid-tier, a good offense. They could have been the Raiders. You know what I mean? Just a good offense that can move the ball. Not exactly win a lot of games, but they'll be, a team that can get to the red zone where we can have high hopes for Gordon to get into the end zone to give us fantasy points week to week. But here we go.
We got a lot of guys talking shit in the comments here, including Gabe here about the ceiling. Note to Gabe, right, about his ceiling being capped, Melvin Gordon's ceiling being capped. His ceiling, his yardage total ceiling will always be capped. But his fantasy point ceiling is absolutely not because
Philip Lindsay is the pure runner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's the pure runner in that backfield.
What do you go? 15 carries for 84 yards. He's very rarely going to go 100 yards, but he scored 2 touchdowns this past week. And that wasn't even his ceiling because he caught 0 passes. This guy's ceiling is not, it is the opposite of capped. It's the touchdowns and the pass work that leave it wide open. Okay. Rest of you guys talking shit. I'll make a shot bet with any fucking one of you. Just say the word. Say the word.
Listen, I'm a Gordon owner, and I feel comfortable playing him in the playoffs just based off of like my situation. I couldn't trade him. Nobody was going to bite him. So you got to deal with what you got to deal with. He's not a bench warmer. He could put up points. He just put up points last week. He showed you that he could be a red zone threat, and he could put up big points. He's catching passes out of the backfield. Lindsey is not. It would be a problem if Lindsey was catching passes out of the backfield, if he was seeing like 4 targets compared to Gordon's 7 targets out of the backfield. That would be a problem. That will have me very uncomfortable because it's like they're using them for the same role. Like have one pure runner, have a guy that's going to come out of the backfield catching the passes. Those I'm okay with. 2 lanes, 2 different fantasy points. I'm 100% okay with that. Usually the guys catching passes are going to give you more points, obviously.
Give me a guy that let's get off Gordon. People are fucking hating on me, and it's starting to really hurt my feelings, okay? If I haven't come already twice today, I'd be really upset. I feel very calm and comfortable in my skin because of my morning. Go ahead and hit me with
my sleeper.
With your first sleeper.
So I kind of bombed on him. He let me down 2 weeks ago. I've been hyping this guy up, for the last couple of weeks. I feel like he's coming into his form. He's coming into his role. He's coming to be a good target for Ben Roethlisberger, and that's Eric Ebron, man. His playoff matchup right now is looking really good. It's Washington. They're tough against wide receivers, a little light on tight ends. Buffalo and then Cincinnati. Cincinnati giving up the most points for tight ends. And I feel like all the teams that he's facing in the playoffs right now, they're a little bit below average of like covering their tight ends. Double-digit points for tight ends, always like specifically our late round guys. Like I'm happy with that. You know what I mean? So if my tight end can give me double-digit points week to week, I'm 100% okay with that. If I got him in like the 10th, 11th, 12th, or even got him off the waivers, you know what I mean? Would you agree with that?
I love me some Eric Ebron, man. I also own Eric Ebron. The only concern with Ebron is that there's so many targets going everywhere in this fucking offense. But
most of his targets are coming when they're before the red zone or in the red zone, and I'm happy with that. So again, like you get Eric Ebron. I didn't draft him. I got him off the waiver wire. So it's like I paid nothing. I risked nothing for him. I didn't have to trade for him. So for him, back-to-back weeks to give me double-digit points for when I'm in a situation where Noah Fant was dealing with an ankle injury. Jonnu Smith, he's a little wishy-washy, but he's finding the end zone here and there. So I like a guy who's going to get the targets. He's getting targets. He's getting like between 5 to 7 targets a game. That's the volume there that I like out of the guy. And not necessarily, blaming Big Ben or blaming him, but his true catch rate is 92%. So those are basically targets that are catchable to him. You know what I mean? So I'm not really blaming Big Ben again. Like I said, he's been a little, banged up. But 92% catch rate lets me know he's reliable in that red zone to catch the end zone passes. You know what I mean? So going down the line, like the playoff matchups, you have to be comfortable with being that these teams, these defenses, they're like below or mid-tier, average of what they can do against tight ends. So I definitely like his matchups. I definitely like his position. I definitely like the volume continuing. But like you said, you have Juju, you have Claypool, you have Johnson. But hey, it is what it is. You got to deal what you got to deal with, because if you didn't invest heavy on a Kittle, which is on IR right now, if you didn't invest on Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, very wishy-washy that you probably invested very high on, you got to deal with the guys that you got very late, like the Jonnu Smiths, Noah Fant, and Eric Ebron. Because I know you remember when Eric Ebron was with the Colts, man. He was a touchdown
record.
Queen.
Doesn't he own the record? Tight end touchdowns?
Man, that was insane. That year, I was late on that train, but I was happy to own him midway through it. You know what I mean? So it's like, he's a big target. That's what I'm saying. Like, Big Ben is going to find him in the red zone when he has these defenses in the playoffs that are, like I said, very weak against the tight end. So if you're looking for a guy that you can plug and play into the playoffs, Eric Ebron is my guy.
Yeah, one piece of advice I would say, like, if you can find a way to avoid streaming a position like tight end by picking up somebody like Eric Ebron, who's available in a lot of leagues still in the playoffs, like, do that. Like, avoid that situation. If you can avoid streaming the position in the playoffs, do it, because he's a solid floor kind of guy. What a fantasy in session here. Our boy Gabe told us five targets in the last, or since week 6, hasn't had less than 5 targets. That's volume. Like, it's all you need out of your tight end. If you can get 4 or 5 catches and you can get 50 yards, that's fine. Like, that's how you win a fantasy matchup. You don't have to go off.
Volume is key, definitely. Like, the tight end position, man, for me, like, I only draft one because I only need one of that position. So therefore, I don't invest high. For the last couple of years, it's been working out for me. Not to toot my own horn, but I got Kittle when he was popping off. I got Mark Andrews when he's popping off. And now I'm sitting with Jonnu Smith, who's like number 4 right now in tight ends. He's very touchdown dependent. I will admit that. But I definitely feel like I came out as a winner investing very low on Jonnu Smith, who's helping me out in that position right now. So I definitely feel like Eric Ebron in the playoffs is a nice plug and play. Like he said before, 5 targets since, week 6. That is volume, man. Even with that high power offense with 3 other guys above him, that's like definitely taking the target share away from him.
I like you sucking your own dick on tight ends here. This is fun.
I will do that. I tend to do that.
There's nothing wrong with sucking your own dick. I mean, if you could do it, more power to you.
Hey, man, I feel like it's a good strategy, man. I like to say you got to find your Mark Andrews. You know what I mean? You got to find your Mark Andrews out there. And next year, I'll be looking to do that as well.
Cool. Can I hit you with another sleeper?
Go ahead.
I'm going to suck my own dick for a little while. I mean, it's real raw from all the work this morning, but I'm going to suck on it anyway. A bit of a salve, actually. If I spit on it real good, calms it down, makes it feel better. It relieves the burn. Not that it burns. I'm clean.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Clean dick, Alex. It's clean. I'm going to talk about a guy here. It's a rookie. I mean, this is not a surprise, right? Like, he's been the go-get-him kind of rookie for the last couple of weeks. Oh, I can't stop reading the comments. I'm sorry I keep pausing. People are talking to me in the comments. I don't know how to type back. I don't know how to use this fucking StreamYard. It's hilarious. Anyway, let's focus. He's sort of the go-get-him rookie. All offseason long, I touted this guy as – he was my 3rd favorite wide receiver rookie in class. I said from the moment he got drafted that he was going to be the lead dog on this team at the end of the season. Dealt with injuries. Now he's back, and he's sort of proving that. It's Michael Pittman. If you haven't figured it out. Right now in Yahoo, he's only 52% owned in Yahoo. Like, this guy is somebody that you could potentially go and pick up, even though he's had 2 really big weeks. He's been the wide receiver 12 over the last 2 weeks. Okay. But there's more than just the last 2 weeks. Like, I don't want you to think, hey, this is a fluke. This is a 2-week stretch. Last week, he only had 3 targets. So maybe he isn't legit. There's more going on there. Okay. So he returned to the team in week 8 after his injury. Since then, he's led the wide receiver room in snaps on that team. 25, 35 more snaps than Zach Pascal, who's next best on the team. He's led the team in catches, led the team in yards, or I should say the wide receiver room. Nyheim Hines had a big game, but he's led all Colts wide receivers in snaps, catches, yards. Only 1 target less than Zach Pascal, partially because he only targeted 1 time in his first game back. But he's been a stud. He's 23rd best yak per catch in the league right now since he came back, at least over that stretch. He's actually the 4th best among wide receivers, because yak is like a tight end stat. It's a running back stat. Yeah. This is a catch it short, 7.7 average depth of target. And he's running with the ball, real successful. Here's an interesting stat that's not relevant at all for fantasy football, but there are only 5 wide receivers in the league who have more targets without a drop than Michael Pittman. This guy's a great wide receiver. He's a very, very football intelligent kind of guy with a really solid and underrated skill set coming into the draft, first off. And he's a really fucking good fit on the Colts team with Phillip Rivers. Let's talk about Phillip Rivers for a second, okay?
Yeah. I'm
going to list for you some guys who have been the number 1 receiving option for Phillip Rivers' team over his career, all right? Obviously, Keenan Allen is a stud. Keenan Allen is 6'2", but he's a special human being, okay? Then we got Tyrell Williams, 6'3". Mike Williams, 6'4". Antonio Gates, 6'4". Malcolm Floyd, 6'5". Vincent Jackson, 6'5". These guys are huge humans. Phillip Rivers wants you to be bigger than the guy defending you because that makes his job easier.
Way easier. Right?
Part of the reason most of this year has gone by without Phillip Rivers utilizing the wide receiving core is that T.Y. Hilton's 5'9". All right. Zach Pascal, 6'2", but he's certainly not Keenan Allen special. Michael Pittman comes back here. This dude's 6'4", is 220. He's a big body guy with decent speed, great hands, and a solid mind. He's the prototypical kind of Phillip Rivers receiver. Rivers loves him, and he's going to keep throwing the ball to him. Okay. This is a perfect situation that gets better when you look at the playoff matchup. So let's do that. Let's look at the playoff matchups. Round 1, the Colts are going to match up against the Las Vegas Raiders, 5th most passing yards given up on the season, over 7 net yards per pass. So like 7 net yards per pass attempt, by the way, is the benchmark for elite, well, whatever the opposite is of elite defenses, right? Like the shittiest defense in the league. There's 4 or 5 of them every year that give up 7 yards per pass attempt. Las Vegas is in that range. So they fucking suck, is what I'm trying to tell you. They fucking suck.
Garbage.
Yeah, so solid matchup there. You go to Houston for the semifinal matchup, 8th most fantasy points to receivers on the year, 3rd most touchdowns scored by receivers against this team. Also over 7 net yards per pass, okay? So another one of these really shitty pass defenses, Houston. We all know that about them. And in the championship matchup, you get the Steelers, who you think the Steelers are a great fucking defense, and they are a great defense in some phases of the game, but they give it up to wide receivers. They give it up in the passing game, 5th most touchdowns in the league to wide receivers so far, mostly because teams have to abandon the run against Pittsburgh. That run defense is stout as shit. Also, best pressure in the league. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense get after the quarterback. 34% of snaps, quarterbacks are pressured against this team. The second best in the league is
every game.
Second best is 26%, man. I mean, it's not even close. So, like, this is a game script that screams Michael Pittman as the short route, dump off, outlet receiver that's going to catch the ball and run with it after. It's going to be a Michael Pittman game. It's going to be a Nyheim Hines game, and it's going to be a whatever tight end feels like playing between Doyle, Trey Burton, Mo Alley, Cox. But I love all 3 of those matchups for a guy that I've always loved who's doing it on the field.
For sure, man. Like Pittman, I was late on that bus. I'm not an owner in many leagues, but I have him in a few leagues. And I love.
You didn't listen to me, man. Listen.
I love what I'm seeing, man. I definitely like going into the playoffs with the matchups. But for me, I can't force him into my lineup. You know what I mean? I can't force him to, bench like a potential Michael Thomas. I can't bench like a DJ Moore. You know what I mean? Who's cooking up right now? Who's getting his targets finally? Thank you, God. Teddy Bridgewater, fuck you. But anyway. Like, I feel like I can't full send him just yet, but I love what's happening with him, and I'm more excited for him in year 2. Like, year 2 is going to be like a full send. He's going to be the guy that we, like how we bigged up Cortland Sutton, how we bigged up, like, Cooper Kupp in his second year. He's going to be one of those guys that needs to be owned. He needs to be on our roster, and he can help us right now in the playoffs as well. So that's a nice little, gift to us to help us win. And then the second year, you got to go get Michael Pittman, man. He's definitely the number 1 wide receiver there, 100%.
I'm on board. I'm on board with Imp here, Mr. Burton, who's blowing up the chat box.
Send him now.
I say send him now. So like in my home league, I own him. I've got AJ Brown, Michael Thomas, and Chris Godwin are my 3 receivers. We have 2 flex spots, so that's the spot that I'm fucking with putting him in. And it is hard, right? Like, because none of the big platforms are projecting him for a lot of points. And as easy it is to say, as easy as it is to say, ignore the projections. Like, it can be difficult to do. But you said it early on in the show. Like, when it comes time to the playoffs, make the moves that are gonna win you something. Grow the balls enough to make the moves that are gonna win you matchups, right? So if you're thinking about, an RB3 in that flex spot versus somebody like Michael Pittman, if you bite like I am, like are thinking about Frank Gore now that P. Ryan's not even there, or a Michael Pittman, play the guy that's gonna fucking win you your league, because not only does Michael Pittman have a nice ceiling, he's scored a touchdown or one over 100 each of the last 2 games, but like his floor is safe too, at least in those playoff matchups that give it up to guys like him. I say play him. I say grow some fucking balls on you, LQ.
Listen, I'm not in a situation where I have to think about starting Frank Gore over him. That's fucking retarded. You know what I mean? Like,
I told you I'm right on the bubble. Like, my team's not great, okay?
Listen, I had somebody last week actually ask me, no, maybe 2 weeks ago. Maybe I'm not too sure when it was. It was basically Kalen Ballage versus like Michael Pittman. And I'm like, you had to put Pittman in, man, because I wasn't too sure on Ballage when he just got there. You know what I mean? But, Ballage has been looking very serviceable. He hasn't been looking like, ass. He doesn't look like Adam Gates is, prototype of a running back. He's been looking serviceable. 14, 15 points. I'll take that every day in my flex position, being that a guy I got off a waiver. There's no high investment out there. So, you know what I mean? So he's definitely one of those guys that are like, being serviceable, not saying he's cooking up, because Austin Eckler's on his way back, of course. So, that little bubble might be popped right now on the Balaj hype train, but I definitely was a guy that picked him up and he was serviceable for me. I'm dealing with a lot of running backs on the IR right now.
This, what it comes down to with a guy like Pittman or Balaj, like a decision like that, does everything. It comes down to situational dependence, right? If you're in a matchup and you think you're going to win, play the safer guy. If you're in a matchup that you need the win, but you're behind the 8 ball because some studs or maybe a Thursday night guy goes off for your opponent, then you have to play the ceiling guy. And a guy like Balaj just doesn't have the ceiling as that most receivers have that could have, a 30-yard touchdown on a given play.
Exactly. So that's amazing to even sit there to have that situation as well. But let's not make stupid decisions come playoff. You know what I mean?
Okay. That's true. Be smart. Look, if you're watching and you're a Pittman owner and you're not sure, just message either one of us and ask us what to do. Give us the context and we'll help you.
Exactly.
LQ, everybody knows where you're at. What are you at? LQ. What is your fucking handle? Real Deal Fantasy on Twitter.
There you go. Yep.
And everywhere else in the world. You're literally everywhere. I can't fucking open my phone without having 19 fucking notifications saying LQ's doing this on Facebook and this on Instagram. Shut up.
Shut up. Be toxic, man. I like to be everywhere in everybody's mind, man.
Everywhere. You're viral.
It's not like I have a team behind me, like that's a viral team, a media team that pushes my shit out. It's literally me just grinding. You know what I mean? Sharing my shit. I got to get my name out there, man. I got to get the grind going.
You say you're married, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure a woman would put up with that.
Listen, when I'm in the man cave, she know what time it is.
That's what I told you when you asked me if today would work. Your family has to know where they stand in the pecking order, and it's
Listen, I'm pretty sure she's watching right now. So let me watch what I say.
My wife's in the bedroom. My wife's in the fucking spare room somewhere watching the parade with both of my children with all the doors closed so that they won't interrupt me. See, she's locking it down.
Hey, I locked the door upstairs, so I should be good though.
Hey, real quick, just because not everybody does know, I think Imp here is asking actually where to find you.
Oh, well, up above, Real Deal Fantasy at Real Deal.
Not real bright.
Yeah, right there. At Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Pornhub, fucking
Tumblr.
Everywhere, bro. I'm literally everywhere.
I was on Pornhub the other day, okay, and I stumbled across a video where this masked Russian chick was fucking a bulldog. That was not okay.
What? That's illegal, sir.
It was illegal. It was in Russia. Nothing's illegal in Russia, but it was not okay. It was real fucking weird.
He said, no, what's your husband's name?
Oh, I think it's Sal.
Sal. Yo, shout out to Fantasy in Session, man. Happy Thanksgiving, bros. Man, we got to link up again. We got to run that episode back. I definitely want to link up with more people, man. Being that a little bit more times opening up for me, I definitely want to do more of this. You know what I mean? Because my schedule has been insane, man. Insane. But I'm trying my best. I got a couple guys. Shout out to, the Real Deal Fantasy staff. You know what I mean? They're doing the goddamn thing with the articles. And we just got to keep the ball rolling. I definitely want to do more of this. This needs to happen more often.
Collaboration is wonderful. That's what the off season's for, though. Everybody's busy trying to win games in season.
Yeah, because you got to understand, we're all in leagues ourselves too. So it's not like I can tend to everybody else's leagues. I got to tend to mine too. What the fuck?
I have 31 leagues this year.
Holy fuck! Well, I'm in 16, so I can't say holy fuck. That we have a problem. That's what my wife said. We have a problem.
My problem is I don't have a job. So what the fuck am I doing? Hey, you got another sleeper for us?
Yeah, let's get into that, man. We're getting off track. So a lot of people.
Beer. You tell us your second sleeper. I'm gonna pretend like I heard you while I go get another beer.
Listen, here's the problem. My second sleeper right now is he's on a struggle tour. His last three, his next matchup as well, and the next one after that, he's on a struggle tour. It doesn't look like you need to even roster this guy at this point, putting up 18, 11 points, 12 points. It's Ryan Tannehill, man. He's only started 30% in leagues, but his playoff matchup looks pretty good. It looks doable. Cleveland is the only matchup that I have like a little worry about, that I have a question about, but he has Cleveland week 1. Then he has Jacksonville, which he already put up 34.7 points in week 2. And then he has Detroit. So division games are like a lot of wishy-washy, but I think Ryan Tannehill has Jacksonville's number. So I definitely like that matchup as well. Excuse me. Damn, that was a nasty one.
Ooh.
But all these defenses are at the bottom or mid-tier of the table. So let's say you're in a QB situation where you have Matthew Stafford, or you're a Derek Carr owner, or you're a Jared Goff owner at that. Now, a lot of QB situations are guys that have waited very late in the draft to go get a QB, but I think Ryan Tannehill is very serviceable in the playoffs that give you between 20 to 25 points. I'm happy with that for a guy I invested very late for, especially in a run offense, a run-first offense. I definitely think Ryan Tannehill can find the end zone, man. I definitely he could be definitely a solid pick for a top 10 quarterback in those 3 weeks in the playoffs. So that's why I feel comfortable starting him being with the matchup he has. Now, I did say I have a little tad bit of worry of Cleveland. So let's say 2 out of 3 of the matchups in the playoffs, Ryan Tannehill is a full send. That I can take, because your alternate quarterback, again, if you're dealing with the Derek Carrs or the Jared Goffs, hey, you might want to just roll the dice on them, but I just don't have a full send, with Ryan Tannehill week 1 against Cleveland. But I definitely think he'd be serviceable, being that, you have Derrick Henry that can get you to the red zone, because Cleveland against the run, again, mid-tier. Derrick Henry is a freak athlete. He's above tier running back. So they're going to find the red zone. So here is what Ryan Tannehill needs to stick to. Henry runs the ball. They get to the red zone. They get to probably the 10. Jonnu Smith for the touchdown.
Double dipping them, baby.
Yes. So that's why I love Ryan Tannehill when he's in the red zone, because therefore, as a Jonnu owner and a Derrick Henry owner, you're not going to get the Derrick Henry touchdown, but you're going to get the yards. You're going to might get some passes out of the backfield as well. And you might sneak in a 35-yard fucking run, or maybe a 94-yard run. Who fucking knows? But Derrick Henry is very serviceable. I don't think you need to worry about him in the playoffs. He has probably the best schedule in the playoffs, if I'm not wrong. But Ryan Tannehill to get to the red zone to score touchdowns is very possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's always scary to play a Ryan Tannehill just because of the volume issue. But, he's carried over some of that efficiency from last season that everybody, including myself, said there's no way he can do that again. He's doing that again. Look, AJ Brown hadn't even hit yet like he could. That's going to happen at some point. Yeah. It might be next year, but I don't hate that call. I've been streaming quarterbacks since Dak went down anyway. So if I can find a guy that I can plug and play for most of the playoffs, I'm happy with that.
What's crazy about that? I was literally sitting at the board for my draft. I was looking at Josh Allen, which I've been bigging up for a while now, and Dak. And I definitely was leaning towards Dak. And surprisingly, the guy before me took him. And I kind of frowned upon it damn, I kind of wanted Dak. And then I took Josh Allen, and I was like, you know what? I believe in this. I 100% believe if Dak was still healthy right now, he'll be a top 5 quarterback right now. He'll be putting
top 1, top 2.
Top 2, maybe, yeah. To be optimistic, I definitely believe in that. And it's man, what could have been? You know what I mean? That is crazy to me for him to go down with that injury at the time he went down, contract year as well. Very unfortunate. I still can't believe it, but
fucked me up so bad. Fucked me up so everywhere. I drafted his ass everywhere.
I wanted him everywhere, but I didn't. You know what I mean? It is what it is, though. Maybe next year.
Hey, we got a question here that I think we should tackle for a second. In Session wants to know, is it Fulgham or maybe James White? He asked after that. Do you trust Travis Fulgham this week or James White? You go first.
The question is, do you trust Wentz? And
yeah, that is the fucking question.
I can't blame Fulgham. He gets separate. this is what I like to watch too. What the receiver does off the line. He's physical, 1. 2, he can make separation. Is Wentz going to give him the open ball? Is Wentz going to make the play? Is Wentz going to hold the ball a little too long? Is Wentz going to pump fake like he's about to go scramble or run outside the pocket and make a play? Or is he going to get sacked? That's my problem here. Like, it's not really on Fulgham. A lot of people have been giving him a lot of shit the last couple of weeks. Like, oh, he popped off. He's this, he's that. What's happening? What's happening is Wentz. Wentz is not even necessarily on the matchups. Like, I would chalk it up today if it was raining in Cleveland, but it rains in Philly too. Like, what the fuck? That doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, the game plan should be Miles Sanders runs the ball about 50 times and they get to the red zone, Wentz with the little dump off pass, touchdown. That's not happening. Wentz is holding the ball a little too long. He's going through his reads. He's going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You're already sacked between that time. You know what I mean? He's holding the ball too long. I don't know what it is. Like, Wentz used to be the guy, before his injury, obviously the 1, 2, run. 1, 2, got him. 1, 2, Ertz. 1, 2, Ertz. 1, 2, Ertz. What's happening now? Yeah. You know what I mean? What's the confusion?
He's a trash quarterback is what it is. Like, he's anytime a quarterback in the league is desperate to make plays by himself, this happens, and he's absolutely been that. You can't trust him. And yes, Fulgham's been getting a lot of shit. And when Rager came back onto this team, his targets took a dip. He was 13, 10, and 11 in 3 of those games before he came back, 7, 5, 7 in the last few. But that's still plenty of targets. He had 7 targets last week, 1 catch, 5 targets the week before that, 1 catch. It's not his fault. Carson Wentz is right at the top of the list of all quarterbacks in the bad throws, off-target throws category. He's fucking terrible, and that's why you can't trust him. I think Travis Fulgham is a great pickup ad for your team. Again, for those leagues that are late-round keepers next year. I think he's going to be a solid player for a while because not only do his numbers look good, but like you said, he passes the eye test. If you watch him run routes, he does everything that you want a wide receiver to do. He is the next coming of Adam Thielen for a lot of different reasons. Yep. Not the least of which is his draft stock coming into the league. But I love him. I just don't love him right now. Rex Burke has been going fucking crazy. He's gone now. James White finally gets his spot back. I trust him definitely more right now than I trust Carson Wentz for sure.
100%.
Okay. You got your second beer yet?
Another beer real quick.
Yeah, come on, man.
Carry it.
I'll talk to the people. Hey, people. How are you? It's good to see you guys today. I haven't been on a video in a while. That's why my hair's not shaved. I haven't shaved my face. Imp wants us to take shots, but I'll take a shot. I'll take a shot to end it. I'm still recovering from my shower session where I beat the shit out of myself here on Thanksgiving. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Go out and bet the Baltimore Ravens to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially now that the game was moved to Sunday. You'll thank me for it after you win whatever. I don't know what the odds are. I think it's like a plus 160. So go do that. Also, while you're at it, go jump on your podcast app, whatever it is right now, and find my podcast, Your Football Fantasy. Follow us, subscribe, whatever you're supposed to do. Unsubscribe to LQ's stuff because he's sort of trash at this. But we're fun. We just get fucked up and talk football. The only warning I'll give you is that you also need to be fucked up while you listen. Hey, bud, nice pants. Stand up and let me see them. Look at you.
Half dressed.
Get dressed, you damn bum. Like, put on a fucking shirt. All right. Let's move off of our sleepers here. We've talked about guys that we like too long. It's way more fun to talk shit about players. Can we do that?
Ooh, yeah. Go first.
Fuck yeah, I'm going to go first. I'm older than you. I should get to go first.
All right.
Yeah. Age before beauty.
There you go. I'll take it.
Also, it may be controversial, but I'm white, so I should get to go first, right?
Oh, my God.
You can't say that.
Controversial, sir.
You can't say that shit on live TV.
It's Thanksgiving, you ass.
Yes, Thanksgiving is the holiday where we celebrate white people's domination over other people, right?
100% correct.
or wild turkey's domination over their women. One of the two. Okay, let's talk about FaZe. I feel bad. Like, I love you.
I love you too, man. I know what it is.
We've never met. Like, it's weird to say that.
You live too far. That's the problem. Come to Dirty Jersey.
I'm not coming to Jersey.
Why? You can come fist pump at the Jersey Shore. We got great pizza. We had probably the best pizza out there.
You shut the fuck up.
I'm just saying.
I'm a Chicago boy born and raised, and like you can't say some shit about your pizza. Fuck you.
Your pizza sucks, bro.
It's lasagna on some cornbread, and it's the greatest thing ever invented. Okay.
Listen, that's another episode. We'll get into the food and the pizzas later, but God, run into your fade.
Wait. I've been just speaking of visiting or whatever.
Yeah.
I've been telling the guys on my podcast for a while now that like if I could join any fantasy league just based on what I see from you on YouTube, I think I'd want to join your fantasy league. I think you guys have fun.
We have a lot of fun here, man, and it's like the people in my league. It's so funny because like most of us growing up together, we all went to the same high school and shit. Like we are all like, friends, I would say. And when it comes to fantasy football, we're kind of scumbags. Like we're really
you strike me as a scumbag. I'll be honest.
Yeah. I'm the commissioner, so I get the hate off top. But they swear I cheat, but I don't cheat at all. But it comes with the job. Like I said.
Burton here, he's commenting on all our stuff. He's the commissioner in my home league. He can attest to this. Like I love my home league, but we're spread out at this point. And I've just been trying to get us all together for a live draft for years, and I can't do it. Like that's not. Come on.
Listen, live drafts are the best drafts. I feel like if you do like the online draft, you got the assholes who come up late. Auto drafting, like I'm a big hate on auto drafting. Like you should be stoned to death. You should be buried in the ground, a head above ground, and thrown rocks at. like
a weed whacker to your face. That'd be fun.
Like auto drafting is like the worst thing ever because I've been in leagues where guys auto drafted and they fucking win. And do you understand that pain, that frustration? Like it's like you auto drafted, you came late to the draft and you won. There's
auto draft, they don't do anything all year. Like they don't respond to trade offers at all. And and then after the season, you'll say some shit and they'll be like, "Oh, did I win that?" Like weeks later, fuck you.
Yeah. So like in my home league, we have a fellow listener who's actually in my home league, Do Say Demon. He actually recorded trade conversations with another league mate. So he's labeled as the feds. That is the most disgusting thing to do.
I want to join your league though. It sounds like fun. Maybe one day we'll get there. Let's talk about playoff fades. Can we?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Now when I'm researching this the other day, like every fucking indicator that I could find pointed to Dalvin Cook as a playoff fade, but I don't have the nuts to say it. If only I could say it. Absolute goddamn murderers row of opponents. Chicago, New Orleans, Tampa Bay for this kid. And I wanted to say, hey, we saw the team pivot away from Dalvin Cook against Chicago, but he had 30 fucking carries.
30
against that team. So I'm not going to say Dalvin Cook. If you're a Dalvin Cook owner,
say it.
Just know that you're not going to be able to rely on Dalvin Cook to win you your playoff matchups week in and week out. He may blow up in one of those games, but it's not going to – you got to find your wins elsewhere. That's not who I'm going to say. He's not my fade. You can't fade.
He shown up in the playoffs. If it wasn't Dalvin Cook, for me, if it wasn't Dalvin Cook, it was Odell Beckham if he was healthy. These two assholes, these two right here, 1 and 2, they don't show up for you in the playoffs. They take you to the dance.
By the way, neither does Tom Brady.
100%. They'll get you to the dance and then leave you at the fucking door.
That's going to happen. That might happen for a lot of Dalvin Cook owners this year.
100%.
Go on. Not who I'm picking. I'm going to pick a fade that you can actually sit. Because if you own Dalvin Cook, even if you think he's going to struggle, you can't sit him, right? You can't sit him. You said earlier, don't make stupid moves in the playoffs.
Yeah. Don't get cute.
That would be a stupid move. Yeah. You know, Matt Nagy, my Bears coach, likes to get cute. And how's that working out?
Oof.
Okay. So my fade is actually Clyde Edwards-Helaire, right? CEH. I think he's a big fade. He's a guy that you can actually sit for two reasons. First of all, there are volume woes going on for CEH right now. And they started when Le'Veon Bell came to this team. Now, I know Le'Veon Bell's not lighting it up. He's not on the field going nuts, having big games. He really struggled against the Jets in a game that should have been his day. They gave him a shitload of snaps in that game.
They gave him opportunity.
I'm not saying Bell's taken over or doing anything to hurt CEH's. Well, I am saying he's hurting CEH's opportunity.
He's just being annoying, if anything.
Let me break it down for you. Prior to Le'Veon Bell's arrival, before Bell got there, CEH was averaging a 66.3% snap share. Since Bell came to town, 48.5 snap share, which still leads the team, but it's nowhere near where it was before. Even what's his fucking name? Darrell
Williams, yeah.
Darrell Williams is getting in on this, but he went from 66 to 48% snap share. He went from averaging 21.3 touches per game to 10.2 when Le'Veon Bell came to town. Again, still leading this backfield. He is the lead back. But that's less than half of the work he was getting before Bell came to town. And that's in both phases of the game. He had 5.8 targets per game before Bell came, 3.5 targets per game since. He went from 18 carries per game to 8 carries per game when Le'Veon Bell came to town. Other things are happening here, right? Patty Mahomes is lighting it up. But there's no denying the fact that when Le'Veon Bell came here, shit went south. The only reason CEH is still in people's conversation is that is the touchdowns. Touchdowns are saving him. Before Bell came to town, he was at a 0.17% touchdown rate. He wasn't scoring. He couldn't get in the end zone. We saw it week 1. He couldn't get in the end zone.
Yeah, goal line doesn't work for him.
Since Bell came to town, he's bumped that 0.17% touchdown rate to a 2% touchdown rate. So he's scored, I think, 3 or 4 touchdowns since Bell's come to town. So that's been keeping him alive. He's a running back 17 since Bell came to town, but it's not volume. He went from a volume-dependent guy to a touchdown-dependent guy literally overnight. And that's a problem for him in the playoffs, because in the first round of the playoffs, he's going to face Miami, which is not a terrible matchup, although until last week's 2 touchdowns to Melvin Gordon, talk about a ceiling for Melvin Gordon. They had only given up 1 running back touchdown since week 4, and that was to Kyle Juszczyk in week 5. Okay, so if you're expecting touchdowns to save him, the Miami Dolphins might give up work on the ground, yards on the ground, but they have not been letting touchdowns in until last week. Then you go to the semifinals, and you got the worst possible matchup. It's the New Orleans Saints, least running back touchdowns in the league, only 5 touchdowns to backs all year, ground or through the air. Least yards to running backs, least yards per touch to running backs. This team is nasty on the ground, and it doesn't get a lot better in the championship week. You see Atlanta, who's a bad team, but there's one thing that they're doing well right now, and that's stopping the run. 8th least running back touchdowns in the league. They've only given up 8, less than a touchdown per week, and 5th least yards to running back. Before I started doing this research, I would have told you that Atlanta's run defense is only good because teams aren't running the ball against them because they're throwing all over. That's not true. They're 5th least in yards per touch to running backs as well. They're actually good at stopping the run. So bottom line is this. CEH is a sit through most of these playoffs. Maybe you can get away with starting him in that first against Miami, but you can't fucking touch him in the semis or the championship. You're going to have to look elsewhere. He will absolutely lose people playoffs. He will knock people out of the playoffs that thought they had a good shot at the championship because they think they still have a good running back in the CEH. What they don't realize is that his volume has been cut in half, and he's just there because he's scoring.
Yeah, this is what I learned about CEH owners. So a lot of people, it's the name, it's the offense.
Yeah.
It's what we learned about, Andy Reid's running backs in that offense. They excel, you know what I mean? And with Damian Williams opting out with COVID, it made him the guy. So the investment became first round. You know what I mean? A lot of people are holding on to that. Do I sit my first round pick in the playoffs that I invested so high on that I made a lot of mental decisions to go full send it? I need CEH on my team to take him 8th or 9th pick or 10th pick or whatever you took him at. Do I sit him in the playoffs? That's what a lot of people are holding on to, and that's why it's hard for them to sit him. But exactly everything you just said, he's going to lose you the chance to actually win when it matters. It's a one-round elimination. It's not you come back and you'll make up for it. It's playoffs or nothing. And you need to sit him. You need to grab your nuts, forget the investment, and stop thinking about the big name and sit his ass because he's going to lose you the game. And that's a lot of things that you need to learn through a lot of years of playing fantasy football. You need to make the right decisions. Don't get cute and don't make stupid decisions. If you're looking at the clear statistics and matchups, CEH is a must sit in the playoffs. Like, I have to look elsewhere. Me drafting how I drafted, I would know, damn, if I'm drafting CEH, I need some heavy workload behind the running backs. Like this year, would you agree it was a heavy running back, year where you need to grab all the running backs you can?
Oh yeah, I'm always on that. But this goes back to what you said at the beginning of the show, right? Like, when it comes time to the playoffs, it's a different animal altogether. Like the thing you absolutely have to do, the best advice I can give to people in the playoffs is this: it's forget kill your darlings. So like, I'm a writer, and what they tell y'all as a writer all the time is to kill your darlings. Like there's shit you fall in love with when you're doing stuff, and fantasy football owners are the same. They fall in love with the guy in the offseason, they draft him really high, and they just love him. They, the CEH owners out there right now fucking love CEH because of who he is. You have to ignore all of that, right? Like the old trope, get rid of the names. If you could just look at matchups and stats without any of the names on your team, pick the guy who has the best matchup and the stats to support playing him without even seeing who that guy is until after he's in your lineup. That's how you win. You have to kill your fucking darlings in the playoffs, man.
You have to, 100%, because they can end up hurting you. They could be the worst ones in your lineup just because you're playing them because of the big name. Like, look at OBJ. Why do people still draft him? Why do people still draft him so high? Because
because he made out with a kicking net.
There you go. And he likes to get shitted on.
Let's start the hashtag kill your darlings. Let's do it.
I'm 100% for that. Let's do it today.
I can't do it. You can do it. You got more sway. You got more pull.
Let's get into my fade. Listen, a lot of people may kill me for this. Deuce's in here. Damn, so I should kill Claypool. That's funny you say that. That's funny you just said that.
Oh, shit. Uh-oh.
That's a lot of... Nah, we're not killing Claypool. Claypool. He's scoring in every touchdown. 10 weeks, 10 touchdowns. You got to have that guy in your fucking lineup. If
you ignored his name and only looked at his stats and matchups, you'd play him. So no.
Now, here's the big name that a lot of people are starting. 80% start in sleeper. Juju Smith-Schuster. I am sitting him come playoffs, people. I'm fading him based on Claypool and Johnson. His matchups in the playoffs on paper look great. It looks like, Juju should excel. He should be very great in the playoffs with Buffalo and then Cincinnati, in the fucking first round, second round. And then he has Indy in the third round, which I think Big Ben can come over that. But in these matchups, I think it benefits Claypool and Johnson more so than Juju Smith. So it's kind of to the point where like, do I start Juju when he's been burning me all season, people? Now, with Juju Smith-Schuster to be the number one, wide receiver for the team, do you expect 4 points out of him? Do you expect 2 points out of him? Do you expect 0.6 points out of him in a division game against Cleveland? Do you expect 6.7 points out of him? Or do you expect last week against Jacksonville 1.9 points from Juju Smith-Schuster? No. You don't expect these fucking points out of this guy with a big name. You expect him to have, big weeks constantly having between 15 to 20 points, being that he's the number one wide receiver. Now, again, these matchups definitely benefits Claypool. It definitely benefits Deontay Johnson when he tends to be healthy, when he wants to be healthy. You know what I mean? Because there's been times where I started Deontay Johnson as an owner. Actually, Duce Demon traded me him. He's healthy. He's good. 30 points.
Wait, who'd you give up for Deontay Johnson?
I gave up Noah Fant and another guy. It might have been Corey Davis.
Yeah, okay. I want to play in your league with Duce fucking Demon because that feels like
But he also owned Claypool, so he made up fine.
Yeah.
He drafted his guys. He's a Steelers fan, if you couldn't tell.
I hate the Steelers more than I don't know what.
But just like Duce Damon just said, which is leading to my next point, Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool are getting more targets than Juju.
So many.
Big Ben is more dependent on those two than Juju. Juju's becoming like a guy that's like, oh, hey, you know, we're in the red zone. Maybe he'll catch this one. Or maybe it'll be Claypool. Maybe Claypool will run a jet sweep and then run it in, and then boom, that kills all Juju hype. So when it comes playoffs, I cannot trust Juju at all. He's like my least trustworthy fucking player right now that's on some of my rosters. I cannot trust him into my starting lineup as a wide receiver 2 or potentially a wide receiver 1 if you're dealing with injuries like with Kenny Galladay, another, you know, league that I'm in. I have Kenny Galladay and Juju Smith-Schuster, and it's like, what the fuck do I do at this point? Like, honestly, with backups like, you know, Corey Davis and backups like Tyler Boyd or whatever. And it's like, I'm sitting here with those 4 wide receivers. It's been very wishy-washy, and I'm depending on my running back. So it's to the point where I cannot touch Juju at all in the playoffs, at all. Even with, you know, the matchups that he has, like I said before, it benefits Claypool and it benefits Johnson way more than him for him to be the third option potentially in the future.
Look, I'm glad you said this, okay, because I am a guy who is a Juju owner in a lot of spots. In a lot of my leagues, I have Juju because, like, he felt like an insane value drafting him in the 6th, 7th fucking round as the guy that should have been the fucking guy. So I was drafting him all over the place. And then all year long, super disappointing. And then you have weeks like week 9 and 10, right, leading up to this, pushing 100 yards and a touchdown in each of those. It felt like it was finally time to roll Juju out there off of my bench. And I'm looking at these playoff matchups, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. But I'm taking you at your word, and I'm going to sit him every week of those playoffs. If I lose, you owe me what money I would have won if I won. But I like you fucking saying this. Sometimes it takes somebody straight up telling you, because I knew in the back of my head that Juju is not a safe enough play that I really want him out there.
Fuck no.
But I'm glad you say that. I also think it's really interesting that, you know, one of your fades is Eric Ebron on that same team, and one of your sleepers is Ebron, and then your fade is Juju. So like in the red zone, maybe it's Ebron. I own Ebron too. And you're right. And what you're right about is this, like, these two guys in any given week, I think they have the potential to score the same exact amount of points. The difference is if you get 5 points as your tight end, you're fine to win your matchup. But if you put Juju in as your wide receiver 2 and you get 5 points, that hurts.
You lose. You
fucking lose. So like, I like that you said that. I like that you put them together because it's worth considering. Like, they have probably about the same ceiling on any given week. But the position that they're playing on your team means that's not okay for one of them, and that's more than okay for another one. So I really like you saying that. That makes a lot of sense to me. Look at this trade that Adrian Cantu pulled off.
I was just about to get to that.
Wayne Gallman for Deontay Johnson. Nice trade. I will say, as a Bears owner, David Montgomery is a terrible running back, but he has one of the best playoff schedules of all backs coming up. I wouldn't start him anyway. But, like, if you got Deontay Johnson, maybe he'll make up for it, and maybe Montgomery can have a lucky week. I don't know.
10 points. 10 points is all I expect out of Montgomery. That's really to the point where I'm accepting that's – yeah, that's what I'm hoping. That it's to the point where, like, Montgomery had the opportunity. Like, not to praise any injury ever, you know what I mean? But Tariq Cohen was probably the best situation for Monty to be the guy, to get passes – out of the backfield, to be the goal line back, etc. What the fuck is happening? Because it's not happening.
Have you watched any of the games?
I watched the games. He's not reading.
This guy bounces back and forth behind the line of scrimmage 3-4 times before he goes, and that offensive line cannot sustain that.
He goes west to east, east to west. He's going sideline to sideline. Go forward. You're a big body back. And it makes me angry to watch him.
If you saw any of his college stuff before he came out, like he made his nut just by running downfield, and he's not doing that anymore, and that's really disappointing. But like, you're not wrong. He's getting the targets. He's got all the volume in the world. You know, he's going 20 touches plus every single game that he's healthy. Again, the matchups are good. So like, if you're rolling the dice there, Deontay Johnson is the guy his ceiling can help offset some of the potential struggle there. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to deal with. You got to deal with. You got Deontay Johnson in return. I'm not mad at you at all for pulling that off. I don't know how you pulled that off, but you pulled it off, my guy.
Good job.
Good job, man. I mean, that was all my fades and sleepers, man. You got anything else you want to put into the air? I mean, it's Thanksgiving, man. Let's put some holiday spirit out there.
That's it. I do want to talk about this other one. Adrian Cantu keeps asking for advice. Like at some point, you got to pay for this. Cantu. Let's see. I don't know if you're asking us whether you like Hunt or David Johnson better here. Both are great opportunities. Kareem Hunt has the best running back schedule the Browns do for running backs in the playoffs. And I actually think Kareem Hunt's going to be a really good play over the playoffs. I think he'll be a sneaky winner for a lot of people because he still does what he does on that team, which is catch passes and run the ball in from the goal line because, your boy Nick Chubb can't do that.
Nick Chubb.
But Duke Johnson is.
It was you that I covered that with.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Sucks on the red zone. He sucks on the goal line.
Such a terrible human. He's great everywhere else.
Once they touch the 20, Kareem Hunt is going to find the end zone, and we saw that last week. So,
David Johnson, on the other hand, look, Duke Johnson was slowly eating into David Johnson's work before he got hurt, and then now that Duke has had his opportunity and absolutely shit the fucking bed. I like David Johnson too. So if your question is, I don't know if it's a question. If your question is Kareem Hunt, David Johnson, or David Montgomery, I think all those guys have nice opportunities, be it schedule or position on the team moving forward. I as a Bears fan would sit Montgomery, but I would not want to be in your position trying to pick between those three because none of them are slam dunks, but none of them are easy sits.
It looks like you waited pretty late to get running backs. Honestly, that's what it looks like you took in the draft.
Zero RB. I hate those people.
I mean, David Johnson was a little bit pricey in the 5th round, honestly, for my taste, being that, what we saw, what was in Kingsbury's offense. David Johnson wasn't on my radar at all. But again, I traded for him. I basically gave away nothing to do it. So it's like, all right, cool. He's serviceable. You know what I mean? Week 1, we were very excited for David Johnson. He looked great. He looked refreshed, looked like he knew what the fuck he was doing. But then that offense just took a dive. So Bill O'Brien's out of the way. Maybe David Johnson comes in, refreshed, and puts up points on the board.
I don't hate it.
Nah.
I got to pee real bad, and you got some steaks to cook. Should we get out of here? Or
fuck yeah, man! It's 11 o'clock, man. It's Thanksgiving, man. I
told my wife 30 minutes. It's been I looked at the clock.
It's been an hour and 16 minutes, bro. But we have a lot of viewers on this, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
That's because people love me. You're fine, but people fucking love me, okay? I'm very approachable. I look like a Disney villain. I'm always drunk. I say shit that everybody thinks, but nobody wants to say out loud. Like, that's just who I am. So people come flocking when I get to talking.
What did I DM you? Love the energy, man. I love the energy, man.
Yes. And this is after I've already come 3 times today.
Do say demon talking shit. I ain't playing Smash Brothers, bro. He talking about Switch. But we got to get out of here, man. We got beer to drink, food to eat, family to spend time with, man. I want to thank you for coming on, bro. Always, man. It's always a great time. Like, we always just click. It's never like any like pre-preparation or anything. We just full send it.
Literally just show up and get it done. It's like we're old friends. Maybe we should do a regular thing on your channel. Maybe you should fucking put me on your channel for a regular. I don't know. I won't put you under pressure right now. There's people watching. Like, I'm around, so.
I like how that sounds, sir. I love how that sounds. Hey, why don't we just merge? Man?
I got, you know what? I don't know that I can commit to that. I got other people.
We'll just name it Real Deal Nuts.
There you go. I think we can do better than that, but it's fine. You're clearly not the creative one.
No, I'm not.
Hey, I want to thank everybody for showing up on this Thanksgiving morning. Like we kicked our families out to put this on for you. Clearly, you had to steal some time away yourself. So thanks for coming. Like this is your channel. This is not my channel. So I appreciate people coming to listen to me. I already told them where they can find me. So if they want to, they can probably find me on your channel on a regular basis moving forward. But it's down the road. We'll have contract negotiations later. I'm very expensive.
Oh, okay. I got Tesla stock. You see the stock killing it right now.
Oh, hell yeah. Dude, once they hit that S&P 500, man, that thing went through the roof.
All right, man. I'll see you, man. I definitely appreciate you coming through, man. Happy Thanksgiving, man. And eat good, drink good, and stay safe, bro.
Fuck yeah. Have a good one, man. See you guys later.
Peace.